Disney just filed a new building permit for the Matterhorn Bobsleds, and I might be the only person who's excited about this. And it might tell us something much bigger than a maintenance project, because the permit that was filed is about fixing an old projector that's over here, so not even really at the actual Matterhorn. So for those of you that don't know, there's a projector right here that's kind of hidden in camo, and that shoots projections over to the Matterhorn, but currently at a very low resolution that's not very impressive for storytelling. And then behind that, there is a walkway that goes over to the rear part of Peter Pan, where cast members come over and provide maintenance. This little hidden nook right here, this little hidden control panel, that is what this permit is all about. And the reason why I'm excited, because A, I've always loved this little bit of hidden projection technology, but I also have a theory that I want to share with you. So what if this isn't just about fixing an old projector? What if it's part of a new storytelling system that's being built all across Disneyland? So let's break down together what this permit actually says and what the Matterhorn could mean for the future of Disneyland's nighttime magic. Here's what it says technically, and then we'll break down, of course, what that means, but I gotta give you the evidence and the proof up front, right? Disneyland Matterhorn Bobsleds tenant improvement. Install new projector pole with enclosure, new air conditioner on new platform, and modify maintenance walkways, stairs and handrails, with electrical and mechanical. Here's what all of that means. Let me explain. So the projector pole and enclosure suggests that they're gonna upgrade the one that already exists. I mean, maybe they're adding a second one, but I bet they're replacing the one that already exists. And if you've ever noticed, when you're walking towards the Matterhorn, it's going to be hidden over on your left. And I'm going to, of course, explain to you why this is a very good thing and why this one needs to be updated. And I've been hoping for this actually to happen for quite some time, but we'll get there. But I believe it obviously needs to be upgraded to be a more powerful projector than the current setup can actually handle, because we've seen some updates around the park that show the true power of Disney projectors and what they can do in 2025. And this one over here, it's just not up to that new standard. If you've been over to Batu in the last couple of months, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So essentially what we're looking at here is this is going to be probably something that's going to be used for the fireworks and nighttime shows to give it a little bit of Matterhorn oomph. And yes, I'm already feeling Matterhorny. So the air conditioner would suggest that they're putting a new coolant system inside of the projector. This is typical for laser or LED projectors that produce high brightness levels. Obviously, they also create a lot of heat. And since it all needs to be enclosed inside of a box, they're adding in more HVAC for this own little projector. I wonder what the temperature is and how cool it feels in there on a hot summer's day. The modified walkway, stairs, and handrails, this is an interesting part of all of this, because on the back side of Peter Pan, over where Sleeping Beauty Castle is, there is a walkway system that's hidden in this berm to get over to said projector. So they're obviously making it easier for maintenance workers to be able to go over there and to get to the projector, which right now is a little bit kind of hard to get to. This also is a great indication that whatever they're doing over there, they want to have access to update it easier, and that's always a good thing. And again, another great indication that this is something far more permanent is the electrical part of this, because they're going to need more power to produce a higher lumen output. And possibly, this is the part that I'm excited for, network integration with other showpieces all around the hub and Main Street USA. That's where I'm starting to see where all of this could go. Between the walkway, the AC, the handrails, like this is a pretty significant upgrade. They're not just switching out a light bulb, they're doing something significant. Let's talk about what that could be. Because you know, two things I love at Disneyland is the Matterhorn, and I also love infrastructure updates, because the different control systems at the park, as a designer, it's one of the most fascinating parts of this place. How did they make it all work and be pretty much invisible to the human eye? To me, that's the true Disney design magic. So first, let's break down, since this permit is about a new projector, what was wrong with the old one and why was I so excited to be like, finally, they're replacing it. Let me break down something you maybe haven't noticed at nighttime at Disneyland. For anyone who's seen the Matterhorn, during the nighttime shows off the edge of the hub, it's not really anything that adds to the story. It's normally just an extension of the magic with a little bit of a pattern. It's nowhere near what we see over in Batuu, where the projectors in Batuu possess the power to fully transform the rockwork into a true storytelling canvas. And in very clever ways, Imagineering takes the story and injects it into the rockwork, making the very difficult surface an amazing opportunity for unique storytelling. When I imagine that happening over on the Matterhorn during a nighttime show, that's what gets me excited. So what's happening at the Matterhorn isn't an isolated project. We have been covering projection updates now at several different locations. We're starting to see a trend, and trends are always a great thing here at Disneyland because it means there's a bigger plan at play. So the first one that we saw was over at PhilharMagic a couple of months ago, and a DCA construction update. It kind of gave everybody the complete breakdown on how deep they were going for PhilharMagic and kind of planted the seed as Avatar gets going, could PhilharMagic switch over to a preview center? And we are seeing preview centers right now popping up out at Walt Disney World as they are further along on their construction journey than the Disneyland Resort is. So that's something to look at for the future. But then, not too long after that, 2 more permits popped up. One for ceiling mounted projectors inside of Pirates of the Caribbean. Now this could just be increasing the overall lighting in there and the quality of visibility inside of Pirates, but it could also mean that there could be some projection overlays coming to maybe enhance the fire scene or put a little bit more motion in the architecture that's surrounding all of the animatronics. And then the other one that we saw was for the Main Street Cinema. And the permit we saw for Main Street Cinema gave us a bigger clue of what's happening because they're also putting in new structural improvements indicating that the sound and video projectors that they're putting inside of Main Street Cinema is way bigger, way more robust. And again, all of these projects have in common new electricity and infrastructure improvements to carry the heavy load of probably a lot more advanced technology. And I know normally advanced technology gets smaller and lighter, but what we're talking about here, I think, is doing just more than projecting. But I don't know, maybe I'm the one who's projecting. But here's what we definitely know about Disney. They don't do one-offs with technology. They usually like to standardize and keep everything at a very specific level. But I can make a slight argument that maybe they're planting the seeds for something else that's coming. And the reason why they're going around to several different locations, some more popular than others, is to create a new experience. Because of course, one train of thought, the skeptic will say, well, they're just updating their outdated projectors. But they could also be setting it all up for a new experience as projection technology has changed the face of the Disney parks. And I'm assuming that evolution will continue. And you know, the best way to predict the future is to look at the past and study how have we seen them slowly go around, implement new projectors, and then what was the reward that the guests got from the result. Because so far, each of these locations use projection as a storytelling device, from show scenes to also environmental overlays. But they're all areas where guests can experience in one way or another some sense of visual Disney magic. And Disney prides itself on immersive storytelling. I'm curious, is there just something more to play here than just lumens? I just wanted to kind of lay all of that out for you real quick. Let's jump into what some of these theories could mean. Because my question is this: what is so important that Disney is quietly upgrading every projector in sight? Let me share with you some options. Would love to hear which one you think is the realistic one below, or maybe introduce your own. Would love to know. As always, these types of videos are conversations. I let you know what's happening, I give you some theories, and then I let you run wild with your own. That's part of the community that we've created over here. All psychos that love how the park is always evolving. Make sure if you enjoyed today's video that you hit subscribe so you can keep going on these construction mysteries with me. All right, let's talk about some of my ideas here that this realistically could indicate. First thing we have to acknowledge to create our baseline here is there is no doubt projection technology completely redefined Disney's nighttime entertainment across all of its parks. What's up, bud? Thank you so much. Have fun today. So back in the day, fireworks definitely delivered the emotion. And then there was the availability to sync the fireworks with music. And then that got the nostalgia going. But projection technology gave Disney the availability to deliver stories all across their park, essentially turning every facade into a canvas of storytelling. Digital projection technology helped finally create the emotional kiss goodnight that Walt had always envisioned for guests at Disneyland. The perfect way to say goodbye. And also maybe a nostalgic reminder that they would want to come back soon. The Matterhorn has always been underused in that nighttime storytelling. There is the old projector on it, and it definitely does glow, but it doesn't perform. It just always adds like a secondary flavor, but it's never been an efficient storytelling partner to Sleeping Beauty Castle right next door. But a powerful projector could change that and finally allow the mountain to speak as part of the show and give Disney that availability that as you're watching the show, the stakes keep increasing act after act. So the viewer feels as if anything is possible at any moment, which very much aligns with Disney magic and Disney expectations. So a new projector right over here could give Disney the availability to synchronize multiple icons at once. Imagine just for a moment that there's a character over on Sleeping Beauty Castle. That character could fully interact with the secondary character on the front of the Matterhorn. Even different characters up and down Main Street USA in a way that envelopes the guests in 360 degrees of storytelling. Imagine the Disney magic when everybody in the hub is looking back and forth at two different vignettes happening at the same time. How you guys doing? Have fun today, man. Thank you, sir. Imagine the fun of watching two different vignettes totally interacting with each other, just like me and that guest did. My excitement here is this is something that I have been dreaming about for a long time. To see the technology to make this possible finally show up. This is one of those times when I go digging through the permits that I'm like, jackpot, I have struck fantasy gold. Hello. Geppetto standing right there. Amazing. So what happens if the Matterhorn becomes more than just scenery? Let's talk about the larger scope of where all of these new projection upgrades could be taking guests in the future of Disneyland. Because my suspicion lies that if Disneyland is updating this much projection tech, could it be laying the groundwork for a new generation of nighttime shows or a new generation of interactive technology? Because the world's not slowing down, and neither is Disney. So if this isn't just about brightness or projection quality, but more about synchronization, being able to link projectors and storytelling across different icons and different locations, what would be maybe the long-term play of all these technology upgrades? Because yeah, it's great, the idea of having the Matterhorn be more a part of the nighttime storytelling, that would be fantastic. But when we see all these different locations, it makes me start to wonder about tech applications. Because we know that Disney loves the magic bands, but could they be working on something more futuristic than that? Maybe the magic glasses. Is a augmented reality or an AR version of Disneyland not too far off in the next decade? As someone who religiously follows the Disney Research Hub, they've already been experimenting a lot with AI-driven show control and real-time projection mapping, the type of projection technology that allows them to make individual interactions happen for the fan based on their movement, their eye control, and even potentially scanning them. An example I always get is imagine going through the Haunted Mansion and suddenly your head is one of the busts that's singing in the graveyard scene. That's not too far away from being totally possible. And with Disney removing 3D from Ratatouille out at Epcot, it does kind of plant the seeds of Are they realizing which technologies to move forward with and which ones to leave behind? I don't think that it's insane to think that there would soon be a moment where if you have magic glasses on, or magic bands with no D, that you would be able to have your own unique interactions and see things that you would swear were there, but they only exist for you in your own optical lens. I definitely see Disney wanting to leverage new technologies to create personalized show moments. I don't see how their entire brand can resist that temptation. So as we're seeing them going around adding in more technology, better projectors that demand more space, more strength, and more power, could all of this have anything to do with a different way that we will each uniquely see the parks in the future? And I know that projectors don't create AR, it does up in here in your glasses, and I'm wearing a pair of AI glasses today myself. But the question is, would clear projectors with different frame rates work better with that technology? So essentially, could Disney be creating canvases which these new stories will be able to come to life from? Just a thought. For years now, Disney has chased the perfect illusion. Projections and AR together could make guests finally feel like they're not only walking through an animation, but living inside of one. So the reason why I get so excited about this small little permit about a projector next to the Matterhorn is it's part of a much larger plan. I believe that all of this is much larger than just the next nighttime spectacular. I believe we are inching towards a future at the parks where literally the magic can surround you in all kinds of different environments. It's kind of amazing how, if you really study Disneyland, that something as small as a projector on a pole can tell us so much about their plans for the future, because it's all perfectly woven together. To make this place hum the way that it does, there's a through line of technology and storytelling nearly at every single turn. So yeah, it's a pole with a projector on it, but it is so much more than that for me. Because as someone who definitely does study Disneyland's past to better predict its future, you do spot the trends of how each step towards the future makes the next step possible. So I believe whatever they're working on, it's just another clue to where everything is going in the future. So I'm sure I've ruffled some feathers because a lot of people are not looking forward to this future, but I, for one, am welcoming it, embracing it with open arms. So what do you think? Is Disney building toward a brighter show or a smarter park? And thanks to all the people that came up to me and said hi this morning. My heart is like full of just all the amazing people I meet every single day when I come here. The best part about this channel is I never come to the park alone. I always got friends waiting for me back home at Disneyland. Thank you. Watch this video on my other channel that explains how nighttime shows work at Disneyland and where all of that equipment is hidden during the daylight. Thank you so much for showing up. I appreciate you.